Yeah, here we go, guys. This is the shareholder meeting, okay? We all have shares. Everybody in the American public, taxpayers, we all have shares in Israel. So we're gonna have the state of where our money is going. Here we go. Let's go ahead and see what this guy's got to say. I'm a shareholder. I am too. I invested a lot of money this year. Holy fuck. A lot of money. I hope he's using my money fucking well. I hope. Well, if you like blowing up hospitals, then I think that your money is going to the right place. If you don't like people that hide in hospitals, then you're in the right place. I mean, I really like. I'm gonna be honest. I really could give less of a fuck about what happens in Israel. Like, I'm sorry. And I think it's really fucking annoying that, like, the U.S. pays so much lip service to some random fucking country on the other side of the world. It's such a waste of our fucking time and money. Holy shit. Like, imagine if we could get everybody together to virtue signal about how much importance helping the people that are living on the street has. Right now, how about veterans that don't have access to medical stuff? How about that? Who gives a fuck about this bullshit? Who cares about, oh, wow, ooh, wow, Israel. Who cares? Get the fuck out of here. Like, Ukraine is no different. I know people don't like Ukraine either. I can understand why people. It was old Mitt Romney. Haven't seen him for a bit. And I'm much more of a fan of Ukraine than Israel. Like, in general, I'm a supporter of Ukraine. In general, not in general, pretty much entirely, I'm not a supporter of fucking Israel. One is defensive, the other one isn't? Yeah, I think so too. Like, Ukraine isn't blowing up hospitals in Russia. Not yet? Yeah, but when they do, then I'll say that Ukraine's bad. How about that? How's that sound? You want to agree with that? The U.S. fucked itself by rooting itself into conflict? I think that a lot of the times that the reason why people are like a lot of Congress people are afraid of criticizing Israel is because it gets turned into anti-Semitism. It's because of, like, the, original sin of the Nazis. That, by the way, I wouldn't really say we, to be honest, Russia fucking stopped. A big portion of that is because of Russia. But, collectively, the world came together and stopped them, right? So, like, if anything, that's not us, we fucking had a war to stop that shit. Russia, yeah. No, bro, like, Hitler tried to march on, like, Stalingrad and shit like that. No, that totally fucked their forces up. It's not even a question. Absolutely. Yeah, the USSR did 76. Yeah, they did a lot. Russian winter is cold? You're uninformed? No, I'm not. It's a fact. Look it up. They're saying World War II was won by British intelligence, Soviet blood, and American steel. I mean, everybody played a part. I'm just saying that, like, obviously, I think it was a major strategic mistake for Hitler to go into Russia. If you ask any historian, they would probably say the exact same. Any normal person would say that was a huge mistake. It was a mistake. Napoleon did it too. How'd it work out for him? Not so good, huh? It's really fucking cold. But anyway, I think that's why people don't criticize Israel as much, is because they're afraid of getting labeled an anti-Semite or something like that. Who cares? Congressmen care. Okay, everybody's getting up, and that means it's probably...
Speaker, the Prime Minister of the State of Israel.
When is this gonna stop? Is this like a loop? How funny would it be? I can't. This is actually...
Members of Congress, I now have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you His Excellency Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel. Thank you.
Didn't they introduce Palpatine like that? They did. That's what I thought. Yeah. This is such a disgrace, bro.
Thank you. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, Senator Ben Cardin, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, Senators, members of Congress, distinguished guests. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me the profound honor of addressing this great citadel of democracy for the fourth time.
I didn't vote on this. I don't know what you're talking about democracy for.
We meet today at a crossroads of history. Our world is in upheaval. In the Middle East, Iran's axis of terror confronts America, Israel, and our Arab friends. This is not a clash of civilizations. It's a clash between barbarism and civilization. It's a clash between those who glorify death and those who sanctify life. For the forces of civilization to triumph, America and Israel must stand together.
I need to text my accountant. I need to make sure we have enough money for this.
Because when we stand together, something very simple happens. We win, they lose.
Of course, because we're a national, like a worldwide superpower, and Iran and Palestine is like nothing. Duh.
And my friends, I came to assure you today of one thing: we will win.
That's the problem. What are we going to win?
Ladies
What
and
do we
gentlemen,
win?
like December 7th, 1941,
Holy fuck.
and September 11th, 2001, October 7th
December 7th,
is a
Pearl
day
Harbor.
that will forever live in infamy.
You
It
think
was
that
the Jewish
Pearl...
holiday of Simchat Torah.
You try and
began as
act
a
like
perfect
that's...
day, not a cloud in the sky. Thousands of
Wow.
young Israelis were celebrating at an outdoor music festival. And suddenly, at 6:29 a.m., as children were still sleeping soundly in their beds in the towns and kibbutzim next to Gaza, suddenly heaven turned into hell. 3,000 Hamas terrorists stormed into Israel. They butchered 1,200 people from 41 countries.
That's horrible. It was
including
really bad
39
this
Americans.
happened. It was really bad this happened, absolutely.
Proportionately, compared to our population size,
Yeah, no,
that's like 20 9/11s in one day. And these monsters, they raped women, they beheaded men, they burnt babies alive,
I'm so
they
sick of
killed
this, bro.
parents in front of their children,
You trying to act like this is like 9/11?
and children in front of their parents. They dragged 255 people, both living and dead, into the dark dungeons of Gaza. Israel has already brought home 135 of these hostages, including 7 who were freed in daring rescue operations. One of those freed hostages, Noor Gamani, is here in the gallery, sitting near my wife, Sarah.
Biden wouldn't even get half this reception. This is your country? Hey.
On the morning of October 7th, the entire world saw Noah's look of desperation as she was violently abducted to Gaza on the back of a motorcycle. I met Noah's mother, Leora, a few months ago. She was dying of cancer. She said to me, "Prime Minister, I have one final wish. I wish to hug my daughter Noah one last time before I die." 2 months ago, I authorized a breathtaking commando rescue operation. Our special forces, including a heroic officer named Arnon Zmora, who fell in this battle, rescued Noah and 3 other hostages. Noah, I think it's one of the most moving things. When Noah was reunited with her mother, Leora, and her mother's last wish came true. Noah, we're so thrilled to have you with us today. Thank you.
This is the Jewish dude people been talking about? Yeah, he's the Prime Minister of Israel.
Many hostage families are also here with us today, including Eliyahu Bibas. Eliyahu Bibas is the grandfather of those 2 beautiful red-headed boys, the Bibas boys, toddlers. And they were taken hostage with their mother and and Eliyahu's son. The entire family was taken hostage. 2 beautiful red-haired children taken hostage. What monsters. And with us also is Iris Chaim, whose son, Yotam, bravely escaped Hamas captivity with 2 other Israelis. And tragically,
I mean,
they were
Hamas
killed,
is bad,
making their way back to our lines.
True.
We have with us also the families of American hostages. They're here.
Elon, yeah, bro, he's sitting in on it. Oh, boy.
The pain these families have endured is beyond words. I met with them again yesterday, and I promised them this: I will not rest until all their loved ones are home. All of them.
I actually think like a lot of the Democrats supporting like this kind of stuff, I think it's actually going to hurt them in the election.
As we speak, we're actively engaged
in
intensive efforts to secure their release, and I'm confident that these efforts can succeed. Some of them are taking place right now. I want to thank President Biden for his tireless efforts on behalf of the hostages and for his
A lot of
efforts
people
to
do
the
not support
hostage
this.
families
I
as
know.
well. I thank President Biden for his heartfelt support for Israel after the savage attack on October 7th. He rightly called Hamas sheer evil. He
They're
dispatched
bad.
2 aircraft carriers to the Middle East to deter a wider war. And he came to Israel to stand with us during our darkest hour, a visit that will never be forgotten. President Biden and I have known each other for over 40 years. I want to thank him for half a century of friendship to Israel and for being, as he says, a proud Zionist. Actually, he says a proud Irish-American Zionist.
Okay.
My friends, for more than 9 months, Israel's soldiers have shown boundless courage. With us today,
Hello, I'm on stream. I don't know. He's there. Why?
with us today
Yeah.
is Lieutenant Avichai Reuven.
I don't know. It's gonna show it on the camera. I have no idea. How could I know that? I did, but I don't know where. It just pans to different frames. I gotta get back to this. I'm trying to watch this. Okay. Yeah, fine.
Avichai is an officer in the Israeli paratroopers. His family immigrated to Israel from Ethiopia. In the early hours of October 7th, Avichai heard the news of Hamas's bloody rampage. He put on his uniform, grabbed his rifle, but he didn't have a car. So he ran 8 miles to the front lines of Gaza to defend his people.
Yeah. Why are you promoting this war criminal? Imagine the plot twist if at the end of this he gets arrested leaving the address. Imagine that. It's not gonna happen.
You heard that right. He ran 8 miles, came to the front lines, killed many terrorists, and saved many, many lives. Avichai, we all honor your remarkable heroism. Another Israeli is with us here today, and he's stand up right next to Avichai. This is Master Sergeant Ashraf al-Bakhiri.
I mean, I'm not against these guys. I'm sure they are heroic in a lot of ways. It's just that,
Ashraf is a
I mean,
Bedouin
it's not our
soldier
fight.
from the Israeli Muslim
You
community
know,
of
like,
Raat.
yeah.
On October 7th, Ashraf, too, killed many terrorists. First, he defended his comrades in the military base, and he then rushed to defend the neighboring communities, including the devastated community of Kibbutz Be'eri. Like Ashraf, the Muslim soldiers of the IDF fought alongside their Jewish, Druze, Christian, and other comrades in arms with tremendous bravery.
You fight because U.S. wants to protect power in the Middle East? Yeah, I think that's true, too. I think the U.S. uses Israel as a
third hero,
destabilizing force.
Lieutenant Asa Sofer,
I think they do.
is also here with us. Asa fought as an officer in the Tank Corps, and he was wounded in battle. He was wounded in battle while protecting his fellow soldiers from a grenade. He lost his right arm and the vision in his left eye. He's recovering, and incredibly, within a short time, Asa will soon return to active duty as a commander of a tank company.
They should have made him a captain.
I just learned there is a fourth hero here, Lieutenant Jonathan Ben Chamo, who lost a leg in Gaza and
Who has a
continued to
hook? Yeah.
fight.
That's the point. What the fuck is that? Oh, it's for his walking around, I see.
My friends, these are the soldiers of Israel, unbowed, undaunted, unafraid.
Oh, man.
As the Bible says, Am Kilavi Yakum. They shall rise like lions. They have risen like lions. The lions of Judah, the lions of Israel.
He's a great speaker. He really is. Yeah, he's got a great voice for doing this. Okay, everybody's getting tired
Ladies
of
and
getting
gentlemen,
up. Thank God.
The men and women of the IDF come from every corner of Israeli society, every ethnicity, every color, every creed, left and right, religious and secular. All are imbued with the indomitable spirit of the Maccabees, the legendary Jewish warriors of antiquity. With us today is Yechiel Leiter, the father of one of those Maccabees. Yechiel's father escaped the Holocaust and found refuge in America. As a young man, Yechiel moved to Israel and raised a family of 8 children. He named his eldest son Moshe after his late father. Moshe became an exemplary officer in one of our elite commando units. He served with distinction for 2 decades while raising 6 beautiful children of his own. On October 7th, Moshe volunteered to return to combat. 4 weeks later, he was killed when a booby-trapped mine exploded in a tunnel shaft right next to a mosque. At his son's funeral, Yechiel said this: "If the state of Israel had not been established after the Holocaust, the image engraved in our collective memory would have been the photograph of that helpless Jewish boy in the Warsaw Ghetto holding his hands up in the air with Nazi rifles pointed at him. But because of the birth of Israel," Yechiel continued, "because of the courage of soldiers like my son Moshe, the Jewish people are no longer helpless in the face of our enemies."
I love that really old guy. There was like right here, he's on his phone, and he just out of the side of his view, he's like, oh, I have to stand up again.
Yechiel, please rise so we can honor your son's sacrifice. And I pledge to you and to all the bereaved families of
Yeah,
Israel,
no, that's Elon
some
Musk.
of
That's what my
whom are
dad
in
called
this
me
hall
about.
Today, the sacrifice
He's gonna say
of your
Elon
loved
Musk?
ones
He's like,
will
I'm like,
not
yeah.
be in vain.
Do Americans care about this? The ones in this room do. Collectively, I don't think so.
It will not be in vain, because for Israel, never again
Some do,
must
though.
never be an empty promise. It must always remain a sacred vow. And after October 7th, never again is now.
Yeah, bro, this dude has had enough. I don't know who this guy is, but I like him. He's on his phone.
My friends, defeating our brutal enemies requires both courage and clarity. Clarity begins by knowing the difference between good and evil. Yet incredibly, many anti-Israel protesters, many choose to stand with evil. They stand with Hamas. They stand with rapists and murderers. They stand with people who came into the kibbutzim, into a home. The parents hid the children, the 2 babies, in the attic, in a secret attic. They murder the families, the parents. They find the secret latch to the hidden attic, and then they murder the babies.
Yeah, that's...
These protesters stand with them. They should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, no, it's obviously bad. Yeah, those people are bad. Absolutely. Yeah, he's right.
They refuse to make the simple distinction between those who target terrorists and those who target civilians, between the democratic state of Israel and the terrorist thugs of Hamas.
This is a false...
We recently learned from the National Security Director...
Hamas is bad, but that doesn't mean that the people supporting Palestine are bad.
Iran is funding and promoting anti-Israel protests in America. They want to disrupt America. So these protesters burn American flags even on the 4th of July. And I wish to salute the fraternity brothers at the University of North Carolina who protected the American flag against these anti-Israel protesters.
Look, I have no problem buying somebody a ticket, a one-way ticket out of America if they want to burn the flag, but it's the First Amendment. They should be allowed to do that. Yeah. Burn any flag I want. That's right. Let me get the... I gotta get this up again.
For all we know, Iran is funding the anti-Israel protests that are going on right now outside this building. Not that many, but they're there, and throughout the city. Well, I have a message for these protesters. When the tyrants of Tehran, who hang gays from cranes and murder women for not covering their hair, are praising, promoting, and funding you, you have officially become Iran's useful idiots.
Yeah, right. He's got a point? No, he's... Well, part of what he's saying is true. No, it is.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Some of these protesters hold up signs proclaiming gays for Gaza. They might as well hold up signs saying chickens for KFC.
Okay, this would be one of the ones I'd stand up and clap for. To be fair. Hey.
These protesters chant from the river to the
yeah.
sea. But many don't have a clue what river and what sea they're talking about.
He's right about that. Wait, did he watch the YouTube video?
They not only get an F in geography, they get an F in history. They call Israel a colonialist state.
I'll be honest.
Don't they know the land of Israel is where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob prayed, where Isaiah and Jeremiah preached, and where David and Solomon ruled?
No, because we don't teach the Bible in school. By the way.
For nearly 4,000 years, the land of Israel has been the homeland of the Jewish people. It's always been our home. It will always be our home.
To be fair, the chickens from KFC, I know he stole that from the internet, but that was funny. Yeah, that was definitely
it's not only
funny.
the campus protesters who get it wrong. It's also the people who run those campuses. 80 years after the Holocaust, 80 years after the Holocaust, the presidents of Harvard, Penn, and
Is
I'm
this the
ashamed to say
divestment?
my alma mater, MIT, couldn't bring themselves to condemn the calls for the genocide of Jews. You remember what they said? They said, it depends on the context. Well, let me give these befuddled academics a little context. Anti-Semitism is the world's oldest hatred.
No,
For
it's
centuries,
not.
The massacre of Jews was always preceded by wild accusations. We were accused of everything from poisoning wells, to spreading plagues, to using the blood of slaughtered children to bake Passover matzahs. These preposterous anti-Semitic lies led to persecution, mass murder, and ultimately to history's worst genocide, the Holocaust.
Is it the
Now,
worst
just as
one?
malicious lies
I
were
actually
leveled
don't
for
know.
centuries at the Jewish people,
I thought there was
malicious lies are
one
now
even
being
worse.
leveled at the Jewish state.
There's like a
No,
Chinese
don't
one or
applaud.
something?
Listen. The outrageous slanders that paint Israel as racist and
Yeah,
genocidal
Mao? That's what I thought, yeah.
are meant to delegitimize Israel, to demonize the Jewish state, and to demonize Jews everywhere.
Wow.
And
Demonize
no wonder-
Israel.
No wonder we've witnessed an appalling rise of anti-Semitism in America and around the world.
You see how that
My
happens?
friends, whenever and wherever we see the scourge of anti-Semitism, we must unequivocally condemn it and resolutely fight it, without exception.
Yeah, anti-Semitism is bad. True. Wow. Good one. Sit down. Just sit down.
And don't be fooled when the blood libels against the Jewish state come from people who wear fancy silk robes and speak in lofty tones about law and justice. Here's a case in point. The prosecutor of the International Criminal Court has shamefully accused Israel of deliberately starving the people of Gaza. This is utter, complete nonsense. It's a complete fabrication.
I don't know enough about this to
Israel has enabled more than 40,000 aid trucks to enter Gaza. That's 500,000 tons of food. And that's more than 3,000 calories for every man, woman, and child in Gaza. If there are Palestinians in Gaza who aren't getting enough food, it's not because Israel is blocking it, it's because Hamas is stealing it.
I think he's right about that. That probably a lot of people in Palestine don't like Hamas, but they're an oppressive force. I think he's probably right about that. That's the way a lot of oppressive forces like that become.
So much for that lie, but here's another. The ICC prosecutor accuses Israel of deliberately
not.
targeting civilians. What in God's green earth is he talking about? The IDF has dropped millions of flyers,
Deliberately
sent
targeting.
millions of text messages,
Selective.
made hundreds of thousands of phone calls to get Palestinian civilians out of harm's way. But at the same time, Hamas does everything in its power to put Palestinian civilians in harm's way. They fire rockets from schools, from hospitals, from mosques. They even shoot their own people when they try to leave the war zone. A senior Hamas official, Fatri Hamad, boasted, listen to this, he boasted that Palestinian women and children excel at being human shields. His words, excel at being human shields.
You think they want to be a
What
shield?
monstrous evil.
Yeah.
For Israel, every
They're
civilian
terrible.
death is a tragedy. For Hamas, it's a strategy. They actually want Palestinian civilians to die.
I think he's right about
so that
this.
Israel will be smeared in the international
He's
media
right. Yeah.
and be pressured to end the war before it's won.
Yeah, of course.
This would enable Hamas to survive another day, and as they vowed, to carry out October 7th again and again and again. Well, I want to assure you, no matter what pressure is brought to bear, I will never allow that to happen.
And by
The vast
I, he
majority of
means we.
Americans have not fallen for this Hamas propaganda. They continue to support Israel. And I want to say thank you, America, and thank you, senators and House members who continue to support us, continue to support Israel, continue to support the truth.
His English is quite good. Oh, he's a great speaker.
But as for the minority,
he is. He does a great job.
Fallen for Hamas's con's job. I suggest you listen to Colonel John Spencer. John Spencer is head of urban warfare
Yeah, he's a
studies at
smart
West
guy.
Point. He studied every major urban conflict. I was going to say in modern history. He corrected me. No, in history. Israel, he said, has implemented more precautions to prevent civilian harm than any military in history and beyond what international law requires.
I could probably believe that. Because think about how many people we killed on accident in World War II. Like Dresden alone, right? To be fair, that wasn't an accident, but yeah, no, I could believe that.
That's why, despite all the lies you've heard, the war in Gaza has one of the lowest ratios of combatants to non-combatants casualties.
What's the ratio?
In the history of urban warfare. And you want to know where it's lowest in Gaza? It's lowest in Rafah. In Rafah. Remember what so many people said? If Israel goes into Rafah, there'll be thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of civilians killed. Well, last week, I went into Rafah. I visited our troops as they finished fighting Hamas's remaining terrorist battalions. I asked the commander there, how many terrorists did you take out in Rafah? He gave me an exact number, 1,203. I asked him, how many civilians were killed? He said, Prime Minister,
there's no number.
Practically none, with the exception of a single incident where shrapnel from a bomb hit a Hamas weapons depot and unintentionally killed 24 people. The answer is practically none. You want to know why? Because Israel got the civilians out of harm's way, something people said we could never do, but we did it.
I need to use the bathroom, sorry.
These heroes here today, the heroic soldiers of Israel, should not be condemned for how they're conducting the war in Gaza. They should be commended for it. I want to thank all of you here today who forcefully opposed the false accusations of the ICC and stood up for the truth. These lies are not only libelous, they're downright dangerous. The ICC is trying to shackle Israel's hands and prevent us from defending ourselves. And if Israel's hands are tied, America is next. And I'll tell you what else is next. The ability of all democracies to fight terrorism will be imperiled. That's what's on the line. So let me assure you, the hands of the Jewish state will never be shackled. Israel will always defend itself. My friends, in the Middle East, Iran is virtually beyond behind all the terrorism, all the turmoil, all the chaos, all the killing.
What did I miss?
And that should come as no surprise. When he founded the Islamic Republic, Ayatollah Khomeini pledged, "We will export our revolution to the entire world." We will export the Islamic revolution to the entire world. Now ask yourself, which country ultimately stands in the way of Iran's maniacal plans to impose radical Islam on the world? And the answer is clear. It's America, the guardian of Western civilization and the world's greatest power.
Oh, Ted Cruz. Sit down, Ted. Come on, man.
That's why Iran sees America as its greatest enemy. Last month, we heard a revealing comment, ostensibly about the war in Gaza, but about something else. It came from the foreign minister of Iran's proxy, Hezbollah, and he said this: "This is not a war with Israel. Israel," he said, "is merely a tool. The main war, the real war, is with America. Iran's regime has been fighting America from the moment it came to power.
He's right.
In 1979, it
Yeah,
stormed the
he's right.
American embassy. It held scores of Americans hostage for 444 days. Since then, Iran's terrorist proxies have targeted America in the Middle East and beyond. In Beirut, they killed 241 U.S. servicemen. In Africa, they bombed American embassies. In Iraq, they supplied explosives to maim and kill thousands of American soldiers. In America, they actually sent death squads. They sent death squads here to murder a former Secretary of State and a former National Security Advisor. And as we recently learned, they even brazenly threatened to assassinate President Trump. But Iran understands that to truly challenge America, it must first conquer the Middle East. And for this, it uses its many proxies, including the Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas. Yet in the heart of the Middle East,
Leaked? What do you mean leaked?
standing in Iran's way, is one proud pro-American democracy, my country, the State of Israel.
I know there's a lot of people that are like fans of Trump here, but unfortunately Trump pays lip service to this shit too.
That's why
He does.
That's why the mobs in Tehran chant death to Israel before they chant death to America. For Iran, Israel is first, America is next. So when Israel fights Hamas, we're fighting Iran. When we fight Hezbollah, we're fighting Iran. When we fight the Houthis, we're fighting Iran. And when we fight Iran, we're fighting the most radical and murderous enemy of the United States of America. And one more thing. When Israel acts to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons that could destroy Israel and threaten every American city, every city that you come from, we're not only protecting ourselves, we're protecting you.
I think that goes back to like what I was saying. I think this is the reason why we support Israel, is so we can have like a base of operations there.
My friends, if you remember one
It's a
thing,
big reason.
one thing from the speech, remember this: our enemies are your enemies. Our fight is your fight, and our victory will be your victory.
Can we vote on this? Like,
Ladies and gentlemen,
when do we get to vote on
that
this?
victory is in sight. Israel's defeat of Hamas will be a powerful blow to Iran's axis of terror. Another part of that axis, Hezbollah, attacked Israel on October 8th. a day after the Hamas attack. It has launched thousands of missiles and drones against us. 80,000 of our citizens in northern Israel evacuated their homes, becoming effectively refugees in their own land. We are committed to returning them home. We prefer to achieve this diplomatically. But let me be clear. Israel will do whatever it must do to restore security to our northern border and return our people safely to their homes.
Israel will do whatever it must do. I think I have an idea of what they think they must do.
Last Friday, a third Iranian...
It's going to cost us a lot of money.
...attacked Tel Aviv with a deadly drone. It exploded a few hundred feet from the American consulate, killing one person and injuring 9. On Saturday, I authorized a swift response to that attack. All our enemies should know this. Those who attack Israel will pay a very heavy price. And as we defend ourselves, on all fronts, I know that America has our back. And I thank you for it. All sides of the aisle.
Oh, he's right about that. I mean, shit, we should just have this guy be the president.
My friends, for decades, America has provided Israel with generous military assistance. And a grateful Israel has provided America with critical intelligence that saved many lives. We've jointly developed some of the most sophisticated weapons on Earth. I choose my words carefully. We've jointly developed some of the
That's
most
true. The best tank in the War Thunder pay-to-win threshold. The Tech Tree is an Israel tank.
We also help keep American boots. We help keep Americans' boots off the ground while protecting our shared interests in the Middle East.
I think if you're playing from like an American IP address, you should be able to play that tank for free, since you paid for it.
I deeply appreciate America's support, including in this current war. But this is an exceptional moment. Fast-tracking U.S. military aid can dramatically expedite an end to the war in Gaza and help prevent a broader war in the Middle East. In World War II,
oh no,
as Britain fought on the front lines of civilization, Winston Churchill appealed to Americans with these famous words: "Give us the tools and we'll finish the job." Today, as Israel fights on the front line of civilization, I too appeal to America. Give us the tools faster and we'll finish the job faster.
Man.
My dear friends, the war in Gaza could end tomorrow if Hamas surrenders, disarms, and returns all the hostages. But if they don't, Israel will fight until we destroy Hamas's military capabilities, end its rule in Gaza, and bring all our hostages home.
What does this have to do with us?
That's what total victory means, and we will settle for nothing less. The day after we defeat Hamas, a new Gaza can emerge. My vision for that day is of a demilitarized and de-radicalized Gaza. Israel does not seek to resettle Gaza, but for the foreseeable future, we must retain overriding security control there to prevent the resurgence of terror, to ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel.
Okay.
Gaza should have a civilian administration run by Palestinians who do not seek to destroy Israel. That's not too much to ask. It's a fundamental thing that we have a right to demand and to receive. A new generation of Palestinians must no longer be taught to hate Jews, but rather to live in peace with us.
Yeah. That would be good.
Those twin words, demilitarization and de-radicalization, those two concepts were applied to Germany and Japan after World War II, and that led to decades of peace, prosperity, and security. Following our victory, with the help of regional partners, the demilitarization and de-radicalization of Gaza can also lead to a future of security, prosperity, and peace. That's my vision for Gaza.
Man.
Now here's my vision for the broader Middle East. It's also shaped in part by what we saw in the aftermath of World War II. After that war, America forged a security alliance in Europe to counter the growing Soviet threat. Likewise, America and Israel today can forge a security alliance in the Middle East to counter the growing Iranian threat. All countries that are at peace with Israel, and all those countries who will make peace with Israel, should be invited to join this alliance. We saw a glimpse of that potential alliance on April 14th. Led by the United States, more than half
You
a
can
dozen
tell
nations
it's going to be over
worked
soon,
alongside
guys, because
Israel
there's more
to help
papers here than
neutralize
here.
Hundreds of missiles and drones
Yeah,
launched
it's okay.
by Iran against us. Thank you, President Biden, for bringing that coalition together.
He pulls out another stack.
The new alliance I envision would be a
Imagine that.
natural extension of the groundbreaking Abraham Accords. Those accords saw peace forged between
God.
Israel and 4 Arab countries, and they were supported by Republicans and Democrats alike. We could call, I have a name for this new alliance. I think we should call it the Abraham Alliance.
Oh, good. Let's get into an
I
alliance
want to
based
thank
off of a
President
religion.
Trump for his leadership in brokering the historic Abraham Accords.
Uh-huh. Just what we need. Why don't we call it the Crusades? The Crusades,
Like
too.
Americans, Israelis were relieved that President Trump emerged safe and sound from that dastardly attack on him, dastardly attack on American democracy. There is no room for political violence in democracies.
Yeah, that's bad. Give me a second. It's Crusade 2.0.
That's Jerusalem, our eternal capital, never to be divided again.
You think this speech was in front of Israeli politicians, not the U.S. Congress? No, you can tell it's in front of the U.S. Congress because they're more enthusiastic.
My dear friends, Democrats and Republicans, despite these times of upheaval, I'm hopeful about the future. I'm hopeful about Israel because my people, the Jewish people, emerged from the depths of hell, from dispossession and genocide. And against all odds, we restored our sovereignty in our ancient homeland. We built a powerful and vibrant democracy, a democracy that pushes the boundaries of innovation for the betterment of all humanity. I'm hopeful about America because I'm hopeful about Americans. I know how much the people of this country have sacrificed to defend freedom. America will be continued to be a force for light and good in a dark and dangerous world.
That's true.
For free peoples everywhere, America remains the beacon of liberty its extraordinary founders envisioned back in 1776.
How is it that there's less enthusiasm for people clapping for America than Israel?
Working together, I'm confident
they're
that our
tired
two
now.
nations
Yeah, it's probably
will
more
vanquish
accurate.
the
Yeah.
tyrants and terrorists who threaten us both. As Israel's Prime Minister, I promise you this: no matter how long it takes, no matter how difficult the road ahead, Israel will not relent. Israel will not bend. We will defend our land. We will defend our people. We will fight until we achieve victory. Victory over liberty, rather victory of liberty over tyranny, victory of life over death, victory of good over evil. That's our solemn commitment. And we will continue to work with the United States and our Arab partners to transform a troubled region from a backwater of repression, poverty, and war into a thriving oasis of dignity, prosperity, and peace. In this noble mission, as in many others, Israel will always
Bernie's
remain
not there at a
America's
protest?
indispensable ally. Through thick and thin,
Yeah. You know where Bernie was, though, back in the day? He was at the civil rights rallies. Yeah. Bro, that dude stood on
through
business.
thick and thin,
Always
in
has.
good times and in bad, Israel will always be your loyal friend and your steadfast partner. On behalf of the people of Israel, I came here today to say thank you, America. Thank you for your support and solidarity.
And for your money.
Thank you for standing in Israel, with Israel, in our hour of need.
And for your money.
Together we shall defend our common civilization. Together we shall secure a brilliant future for both our nations. May God bless Israel, may God bless America, and may God bless the great alliance between Israel and America forever.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Holy, are we doing this again? The first one to stop clapping hates Jews. Just how it is. Is this over? Well, that's where our money's going, guys. There it is. Can I hate the Jewish government not be counted as racism? The government and Israel being attached to anything Jewish is completely independent from the way most normal people see it. I don't think that has anything to do with it, really. Like, I see, like, I mean, because if you look at, like, a lot of the rhetoric, obviously, I think this guy, he's such a great speaker and he's a great communicator, I think. And I think that you can see a lot of the vocabulary and, like, the references being done about, like, World War II. And I think that's why a lot of people, like, in the U.S., especially older people, I think are really sympathetic towards Israel, is because they view Israel as, like, overcoming the bad stuff that happened in World War II. And I think that's why you see much more of a disconnect between, I don't know why it's doing this, by the way, much more of a disconnect between, like, younger people and older people in support of Israel. So that's why I think it's happening, right? Why does America support war criminals? Well, I mean, to be fair, it takes one to know one. But I think there's a lot of reasons, right? And younger people are just brainwashed by TikTok, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, there could be a lot of reasons why it happens, but I just think that in general, I find it to be really disappointing and really annoying that you have this guy who is not even a... I mean, this guy, he's not... Like, we didn't elect him... like in America, right? We didn't elect him. We don't have anything to do with this guy. And like all the politicians and everybody are clapping for him like he's fucking cured cancer or something like that. And it's just very exhausting. Louder? I don't know why it's laggy. I might just go to another one. You elect the people who openly support him, though? I know. I really wish that, like... I feel like there aren't enough people that are outspoken about their dislike for Israel in order for it to be like a big platform issue. And I think also Israel has done a really good job at synonymizing or like making criticism of Israel synonymous with anti-Semitism. And the problem is that there are a lot of people, you think about it, right? Every person who's anti-Semitic probably also hates Israel. So the problem is that there is some truth to that, but it's dishonest to assert it. You see what I'm saying? Sure, that connects? Of course it connects. Yeah, obviously, right? You're really uneducated on this? Also, it's unprecedented foreign world leaders to adjust joint session in Congress. Been on a lot of poll lately. If you want to talk about me to, like, if you want to disagree with something I'm saying, then I think you have no problem. Like, I would listen to an agreement. But if you just call me stupid and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, you'll just get permanently banned.
The purpose of the joint meeting having been completed, the chair declares the joint meeting of the two houses now dissolved. The House will continue in recess.
Pull me up. I'm not going to pull people up just because they make some comment. Anyway, I find this to be very annoying. It is very annoying for me to see this. It was fun. Maybe he's off his meds. I hope he is. I really do. Jews are not doing this. Wow, it's so dumb. Of course, Jews are not responsible. This is the same thing like in September 11th. Like, is every Arab responsible or every Muslim responsible that September 11th happened? No, it was retarded then, and this is retarded now. In the same way that, no, it wasn't every Arab's fault that September 11th happened. That's insane. It's not every Jewish person's fault that Israel does this. Like, it has nothing to do with a person who's an American Jew. What the fuck do they have to do with Israel? It's not even a question. Like, it's such a... And the problem is that the optics of that, like, nobody wants to be painted like an anti-Semite or something like that. And so, not Jew Zionists, but you saw how he did the, you know, criticism of Israel and then criticism of Israel's policies, or Jewish policies and then criticism of Jews. Like, I think that he very, very clearly created the pipeline in which that they used to suppress dissent, which is anytime that you criticize their actions, it's actually being anti-Semitic. It's exhausting, man. For someone that's black and white, yeah. Then why do American Jews get beat up by protesters? Because the people that are doing that are racist and they're bad actors and they're bad people and they should go to jail. Like, what do you think this is like some kind of a fucking gotcha? They're like, oh wow, you're gonna bring up this point? Like, what are you talking about? Nobody thinks that's good. The only people that think that's good are assholes. Who thinks that? Do you think the U.S. is so strongly interested and allied with them since it gives the U.S. access to the Middle East? I think that's the actual reason. And that's, like, I hope that's the reason. Because at least that makes sense. But having access to the Middle East doesn't mean that we have to finance them going into Palestine and killing people. And blowing up hospitals and killing civilians. Like, it's a very big difference. Like, it's like, I have no problem, like, if we have an alliance with them, at a certain point, like, we have to follow through with that alliance, or, like, we're not, like, bro, like, how can you can't have a treaty with somebody and then not fulfill your end. Like, that's bullshit, right? So we have to protect them, but, like, that protecting ends when they start attacking other people. I think the problem isn't that we're helping Israel. The problem is that we are enabling Israel to go farther and to go beyond their scope and to hurt other people. That's the reason why people are upset. I don't think people have a problem with Israel. They have a problem whenever it's the money and, like, the resources are being used offensively. Yeah. Reading a third-person view on the war going on, it's pretty hard. It's hard to trust news. Yeah, I think you're right. Tipping point, future will tell. Yeah, I guess so. It's the same thing. They aren't intentionally killing civilians, though. It's war. I understand that, but, like, you understand that when they're defending themselves by bombing places with civilians, like, they have the Iron Dome. I have no problem if we want to protect Israel, and maybe we should go in there and get rid of Hamas. I'm fine with getting rid of Hamas. That's fine, but dragging this out and trying to push it in like that, it's insane. Like, I don't think anybody agrees. I don't think anybody likes Hamas. Nobody likes Hamas. Like, what the fuck? At least nobody here does. It's not even a question. Oh, people do? Yeah, you're right about that. But I feel like those are the crazy people, you know? 4,000 to 5,000 years of war. Yeah, I know. They hide behind civilians. I think they do too. This is what my assumption is, and I don't really know this, but I think I have a good idea on, like, how people are, and I think this is probably what's happening, is that, as with pretty much every single other war in the entire history of wars, I bet the people in Hamas are not actually liked by all of the people in Palestine and the people that are living there. And I think that in a lot of cases, the people in Palestine would want a better solution than Hamas. They probably don't like Hamas. Hamas is probably oppressive, abusive. It uses them as human shields. Like, what are we even talking about, right? Like, so I don't think that they even like Hamas either. But I also think that what happens is that, like, especially young guys, I think this is how it happens, is, like, young guys get attracted to things like Hamas because they see people get blown up by Israel. You know, they have, like, a family member or, like, a friend that gets hurt by Israel, and then that radicalizes them, and then they join Hamas. And, like, I mean, that makes sense, right? Of course it makes sense. And I'm not saying it makes sense as if it's good. I'm saying it makes sense as if I can see this chain of thinking. It's obvious. If you can't see this, you're delusional. So, yeah, that's their point. Yeah, exactly. The ranks are made up of orphans. Yeah, I think in a lot of cases that's probably true. There's so much proof that bombing camps full of kids and disabled adults, they've been shown to target kids purposefully. Well, I think that it would be like, if I was Hamas, I would use kids and old people as human shields too. I think that's the smart thing to do because it makes Israel look bad by doing it. Like, I mean, let's be honest, right? Like, if you were running Hamas, wouldn't you do that? I mean, yeah, of course, right? It's common sense. No, because you would lose support? I don't think that it's about the support because they have such a military presence that they, like, the support, they didn't get voted on. It's not like people over there voted on Hamas. They did? They did in 2006 vote on it. International support, though. They did, but it was a long time ago. Yeah, I don't know if it's the same Hamas that it was back then. They did in 20 years, but they haven't had an election since then. That's interesting. I wonder why. So, yeah. Anyway, the point is that I don't really have a problem with us going in and trying to solve the problem with like Hamas or any of this stuff. But I think that the issue is that we are continually giving Israel money that they are using to basically perpetuate a war that will never end. Like, this will never end. It will never stop happening. And so either we commit to making it stop or we stop funding it. Because I can tell you one thing. If we cut off their funding, if they kept bombing anywhere outside of where Israel is, this war would stop immediately. The only reason that this is going on and there isn't a ceasefire is because we're letting it happen. It's like you said, they're using this as a means to an end. Yeah, exactly. You're fucking delusional. They don't have, like, Israel doesn't have the money to do this on their own. What are you talking about? Absolutely not. They can't fight this war on their own. We're making this happen. What are you talking about? You're totally wrong about the money thing, like totally. This is a pull me up. I'm not interested in hearing your debate. I don't want to hear your point of view. I don't really care about it, to be honest with you. Yeah, I don't give a shit. But anyway, this is what I think. I think it's fucking disgraceful that this guy gets over 20... he gets over 20 rounds of applause of a standing ovation when this doesn't even happen at the State of the Union. It doesn't happen for the president. This is outrageous. This is ridiculous. The amount of lip service and, like, virtue that we pay to Israel. It is insane. It's exhausting as well. It's for the free world, man. Why are you so against it? Why would Israel want to prolong a war? It makes no sense. Why do you think Israel wants to make the war go on? Israel is not trying to make the war go on, but they're perpetuating it themselves. For money, yeah. Because if we keep funding them to do it, then they're going to keep getting money. Is there a place to see all the blacklisted words? No, there's too many of them. But, yeah. Either way, I just, I think this is disgraceful. I find it to be very annoying. And I think that we should focus on our own problems rather than trying to fund, you know, some war on the other side of the world. This is a massive waste of time. If we want to help Israel protect its own border and protect people from coming in and killing them, I think that's reasonable. But funding them going into Gaza and attacking and killing people, that's a completely different thing. It's way too much. Yeah, America first. Yeah, we should focus on America and not fucking Israel. It's amazing that anybody thinks that's a good idea. Which I hope you make it understand. We have 18-year-old fell duty here. We have no wish, no amount of money that's worth it. I'm not even sure what you're saying. Netanyahu even denied a ceasefire from Hamas and Iran just because they backed by U.S. money. It's fucking disgusting. I just don't think it's our fight. I mean, this is not our problem, and it's fucking annoying that I have to keep seeing it. That's what I think. Explain to you why Trump will not end the war. I don't... look. I wish Trump didn't pay this as much lip service as he did. I think Trump pays way more attention to this. I think it's fucking annoying. Absolutely it is. Just full of leftist supporters? Well, it would make sense that people that are more left-wing would be watching this because I think that it's generally a left-wing sentiment that this guy is bad and Israel is bad right now. So yeah, it would make sense. Right? Because, like, I'm saying the thing that they agree with, so they would probably be in here watching. Like, logically, that's what would make sense. So yeah, I mean, you're not going to get me, like, by this guilt, you know, by association or something like that, you know? What do you consider an appropriate response to October 7th? I don't know. It didn't happen to us. It's not our problem. If we want to go over there and bomb them, then we should have done that and it should have been over with. This was months ago. It's almost a year ago. It should have been over by now.